What is Alzheimer's disease? Alzheimer's is a slow, fatal disease of the brain affecting 1 in 10 people over the age of 65. No one is immune. The disease comes on gradually as 2 abnormal protein fragments, called plaques and tangles, accumulate in the brain and kill brain cells.
Alzheimer's disease disrupts this intricate interplay. By compromising the ability of neurons to communicate with one another, the disease over time destroys memory and thinking skills. Scientific research has revealed some of the brain changes that take place in Alzheimer's disease. Abnormal structures called beta-amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles are classic biological hallmarks of the disease. Plaques form when specific proteins in the neuron's cell membrane are processed differently. Normally, an enzyme called alpha secretase snips amyloid precursor protein, or APP, releasing a fragment. A second enzyme, gamma secretase, also snips APP in another place. These released fragments are thought to benefit neurons. In Alzheimer's disease, the first cut is made most often by another enzyme, beta secretase. That, combined with the cut made by gamma secretase, results in the release of short fragments of APP called beta amyloid. When these fragments clump together, they become toxic and interfere with the function of neurons. As more fragments are added, these oligomers increase in size and become insoluble, eventually forming beta amyloid plaques. Neurofibrillary tangles are made when a protein called tau is modified. In normal brain cells, tau stabilizes structures critical to the cell's internal transport system. Nutrients and other cellular cargo are carried up and down the structures called microtubules to all parts of the neuron. In Alzheimer's disease, abnormal tau separates from the microtubules, causing them to fall apart. Strands of this tau combine to form tangles inside the neuron, disabling the transport system and destroying the cell. Neurons in certain brain regions disconnect from each other and eventually die, causing memory loss. As these processes continue, the brain shrinks and loses function. We now know a great deal about changes that take place in the brain with Alzheimer's disease, but there is still much to learn.
In the normal brain, we can see that the folds of the brain are very full and tightly packed together. And this is the normal picture of the brain. Whereas in the brain of someone with Alzheimer's disease, we can see that the folds are much narrower than they are in the healthy person, and the gaps between the folds are actually much wider. And these changes represent a shrinkage of the brain, which is due to damage and loss of nerve cells.
They start here, in the hippocampus, the part of the brain where memories are first formed. Over many years' time, the plaques and tangles slowly destroy the hippocampus, and it becomes harder and harder to form new memories. Simple recollections from a few hours or days ago that the rest of us might take for granted are just not there.
In a person with Alzheimer's disease, the brain is obviously shrunken. Here is the hippocampus, and we can see the size of it in the normal brain. If we compare that in the person with Alzheimer's disease, we can see the hippocampus is much shrunken, as is the rest of the temporal lobe and other parts of the brain as well. This is emphasized when we compare the hippocampus in the Alzheimer's disease person on the top and the healthy individual on the bottom.
After that, more plaques and tangles spread into different regions of the brain, killing cells and compromising function wherever they go. This spreading around is what causes the different stages of Alzheimer's. From the hippocampus, the disease spreads here to the region of the brain where language is processed. When that happens, it gets tougher and tougher to find the right word.
And I like it that your sons play.
Yeah, you get to play with my friends and stuff. It's fun. Yeah.
Next, the disease creeps toward the front of the brain, where logical thought takes place. Very gradually, a person begins to lose the ability to solve problems, grasp concepts, and make plans.
It's healthy.
Because of my mouth?
It's really healthy. Go ahead, Lord.
Yeah. There you go. Seatbelt. Hey, Mimi. You feeling good?
He's feeling good.
Next, the plaques and tangles invade the part of the brain where emotions are regulated. When this happens, the patient gradually loses control over moods and feelings. After that, the disease moves to where the brain makes sense of things it sees, hears, and smells. In this stage, Alzheimer's wreaks havoc on a person's senses and can spark hallucinations.
Please, get that little boy, that one right there, get that little boy, look at him. I'm worried about him, help him, help him. He needs help. Okay.
Eventually, the plaques and tangles erase a person's oldest and most precious memories, which are stored here in the back of the brain.
Joanne, do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Good. It's Jan. Jan's here. Jan's here. Can you hear me? Yeah. If you would stop grinding your teeth, it would make you feel better. Can you hear me? Did you know I love you? I love you. Mom, I love you. I love you. Can you talk to me? You can? Good. Really?
Not yet.
Well, maybe you can get a good nap in today. Did you have a good lunch? Joanne? Did you have a good lunch?
Near the end, the disease compromises a person's balance and coordination. And in the very last stage, it destroys the part of the brain that regulates breathing and the heart. The progression from mild forgetting to death is slow and steady and takes place over an average of 8 to 10 years. It is relentless and, for now, incurable. Helping your family, friends, and neighbors to better understand Alzheimer's will reduce stigma, improve care, and even help the fight for a cure.